Just do one thing differently. That's it. Is it that simple? It changes your identity, it changes your surroundings, it changes your expectations, it changes your opportunities, it changes your reality. It really does.
Whether it's books or going to exercise or getting a coach or doing group coaching, whatever it is, the choices you make now are rippling into your future, whether you like it or not. And I'm telling you, the outcomes are big later on.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was episode number 1354, Can Loneliness Be a Good Thing? Today, happy Friday, for episode number 1355, Changing Your Reality is Easier Than You Think. Having a conversation on a podcast the other day, and this just kind of came to me, where I said, if you think about it, we don't have that many things going on in our life. I know it seems like we do, but say you have 15 things you're focusing on. You have your health, your wealth, your love, you have your family, you have your home, you have your pets, you have your job, you have all these things. Okay. If you change one of those things, you change your reality. I know it's overly simplistic, but here's my example. So Taryn said to me the other day, she said, hey, I'm thinking of rearranging the living room. What are your thoughts? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. I don't care. For me, it doesn't really, cool, I'm with it. Do you want to do it this weekend? Because we have some heavy furniture and we got to take the TV off the wall and mount it on the other wall. And she's like, yeah, we'll see about this weekend. I was like, all right, cool. You and I recorded on Monday. I walked out of the office. I walked down the hallway into the living room, and the living room was rearranged. She moved the couch. She moved everything other than the TV. And she's like, so I did something. And I was like, no, I definitely see that. And I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. So I get the drill and I say, I'm guessing you want to finish this, right? It's been a long day, but that's okay. We'll get it done. So I take the TV off the wall. I mount it on the other side. Awesome. We got new light bulbs that change colors. It's the best. So now the living room is set up in a different direction. And that one thing has changed the entire reality of our home. That one thing. Simple. I think our lives are very similar. Where when you think I need to change everything, changing everything starts with changing one thing. And that one thing can be pretty simple. This is my analogy. If you aren't a business owner and then you pay for a business license, you're now a business owner. Your reality has changed completely. You identify as something different. People will look at you as something different. Your opportunities are different. What you do every day is a little bit different, but that was only based on one decision. That was really based on one small thing. That is my thought in this hyper-conscious episode.
Love it.
Do you love it?
I do. I'm going to say something that I believe is the most empowering thought that any human can have. Bold statement. The most empowering thought, in my opinion, that I believe anyone can ever have. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
No matter how hard your past has been, you have a spotless future.
I haven't heard that one in a minute.
You have a spotless future. You can change it. You can mold it. You can shape it. In typical Jim Rohn fashion, he says the goose can only fly south. The goose can only fly south, Kev.
Well, the problem with
I can fly north, and
the problem with that analogy
and
is the goose does come home, so it has to fly north.
That's a great point.
So Jim was wrong.
Yeah, he was
but
wrong.
Regardless,
in the winter, the goose is programmed to fly south. But we all have a choice. Emilia and I were joking, and sometimes we are underneath all of the weight of our large goals. Emilia and I have some big goals. And we were joking on the couch eating food, and she said, do you think you chose your calling, or do you think your calling chose you? And I said, I don't know. I think it's both. Although sometimes it doesn't feel like a choice, Because every now and then I'll just have these weird moments of like, it'd be a lot easier if I just like worked for Oura Ring and just like sold these things, instead of bringing self-improvement to the masses. And then I have my next thought, which is like, I would never do that. I don't want to do anything else, But anyways, and we have something called the Out Here Jeffin' Club, because we're out here Jeffin'. And it's basically the NLU team gets together, and the only purpose of this meeting is to not have a purpose, which is to just connect. So I guess that's a purpose. But we all want to connect. And so on the last one, what was the question? It was something like I asked something that Emilia asked me. She said, if you weren't worried about profitability, if you weren't worried about your mission, if you weren't worried about serving anyone else, basically the most impractical question ever of all time, and you were in an alternate universe, a different world, a different life, what would you do? Like, what would you do for your career if you weren't worried about maximizing your potential at all or contribution? And I think, what did I say? I think I said actor, something like that.
Math teacher.
I don't even know what did you say?
You say math teacher.
Oh, math teacher. Yeah. What did you say?
Rapper.
And then we had Jesse and Amy. What did they say? I think Amy said garden. I know Emilia said gardener. She wants to be like a gardener, which is cool because, by the way, it's not a useless question. You can actually do that on the side. I could easily teach math on the side.
Well, you do, right? You do it in business coaching. Yeah. I think that Jesse and Amy's were very deep. I don't remember exactly what they were, but they were pretty deep.
I think Jesse's was yoga teacher. I think
maybe. I don't
Either
remember.
Way, what was my point of this? Hold on.
Who knows, man? Could be anything.
Who knows? Hold on. What's the name of this episode again?
Who am I? This episode's changing your reality is easier than you think.
Yeah. We all have a choice. And I think that we forget that. We're on the treadmill and the treadmill's speeding up. Kev, real talk. We're on the treadmill and the treadmill's speeding up.
It is.
And we forget that we have a choice. And I think that, the most empowering thought in the world is that you can change your reality anytime you choose. Anytime you choose, you can, assuming you live in a free country, you can choose a different career. You can choose a different partner. You can choose a different home. Emilia and I do this one simple thing where we'll randomly switch sides of the bed. She'll do that. I'd sleep on the same side of the bed forever if I, whatever. She's like, I think we should switch back. It's like, okay, sweetheart, like whatever you want. She likes variety more than I do. And I said, now Tariel will knock your stuff off the bedside table, thinking that it's mine. My cat knocks my stuff. But yeah, brother, choice.
Knock your stuff. I was listening. I was reviewing the latest episode or one of the latest episodes, and how you just say, knock my stuff.
She does.
She's knock my
not
stuff.
Lately. She's not upset
because
with
you've
her
been
dad.
You've been waking her up.
I have.
I had a really powerful client call today. Shout out to Billy if you're listening, Billy. I think you listen. And I said, I know it seems like you're in the crap right now, because you kind of are, right? You're a couple of years in. You're trying to turn this into a business. I know you're in the crap. I said two things. One, you will look back at this in a couple of years if you continue, and you will say, wow, those were some of the best years ever. 100%. And I said, here's the thing. You need one client. One client that will give you any amount of money, and you just change your reality. Now you're a coach. Everything is different. Everything is different. I'm in this weird phase where that's all I'm trying to help people with. Just do one thing differently. That's it. Is it that
it changes
simple?
Your identity.
It changes your identity. It changes your surroundings. It changes your expectations. It changes your opportunities. It changes your reality. It really does.
Kev.
Alan.
I'm
in a very, very good mood. If you listened to the latest episode, I was not feeling well. I was physically ill. I slept for like 10 hours. I don't know if I have slept that long in years.
Best thing ever, man.
I'm ready to roll.
Sleep score 89, you said.
It was really good. Had a great workout today. Score. I'm all hopped up on caffeine. I'm ready to do it.
Let's go. I'm ready for my next caffeine fix. Okay. Question for you. We've been in business 6 years together, you and I. And you have arguably transformed more in the last 6 years than anyone I've ever seen in that time frame. Of course. And part of that is because you were just lost when we first met.
A little backhanded compliment, but
no. Yes and no. But what were the biggest choices that made the biggest difference, I guess, that our listeners could implement? Because it always, over time, it comes down to the simple stuff, man. It really does.
I said this recently, the power of learning a little bit every day. It creates a level of certainty in you. Tara and I were talking about finances recently. And I was like, I know exactly what to do. I know the answer. I know the answer to this question in my heart of hearts, based on practicing it every day for the last 6 years. I know the answer. I just know what's right. I know what's optimal. And that was weird. That was a weird feeling for me to have.
What did it used to feel like? Because that, and again, just bringing the listeners behind the scenes, that's how I used to sound to Kevin at the beginning.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you didn't understand, like...
Which is why I've had a lot of empathy for my wife.
Yeah,
because I understand. Oh, when I tell you, I mean, we're the most financially free we've ever been, and I'm grateful for that. But when I tell you it's going to get like weird, and I just say, trust me, obviously that's not going to work, because that's what you used to do.
Yeah.
And it never landed for me. So I understand.
It's wild that you trusted me anyway. Thank goodness.
Well, she's trusted me too. So it's very interesting. I would just, you can only make as optimal a decision as your awareness. So I would try to make a decision based on what I knew, but it was usually on emotion, like what feels best.
Does the chess thing that I used to say land now for you?
The Grandmaster.
Oh,
if you know, if you know all the pieces.
Go
ahead.
Your memory of my sayings are alarming. So I used to say this all the time, and I now realize as a better communicator how bad I used to be, honestly, because no one knew what I was talking about. And I understand now why that is. But anyways, so I used to say this. I used to say, trying to go out into the economy and succeed when you don't know anything about money or anything about the economy is like trying to win against the greatest chess master in the world when you don't know what the pieces do.
Still,
and now, go ahead.
Most people don't know chess, so it's like, I understand what you're saying. I don't know what grandmasters know. If you said trying to fight a mixed martial arts champion as somebody who has never trained, that would land for me.
Oh, right, because I
don't know chess.
MMA.
I used to play chess with my boys.
Back in
I
middle
used to
school
mess
days?
around and play some chess.
Yep.
But
chess is a great game, man. I have a client. Shout out to you, Dave, if you're watching. He plays chess for R&R. I'm like, dude, I don't think that's R&R. It's like intellect. Yeah, I know.
Good for you.
Yeah, next level. Which we don't use enough. We used to use next level all the time. It's like he's super next level.
I say it 7 times a week on this Bad Larry intro and outro, man. I can't say it any more than I say it.
All right, so now you know what the pieces do. So now you feel empowered. So it's awareness, learning.
I think it's awareness. Yeah,
What
most
else?
of us. What else? Honestly, ownership. Ownership of every mistake I've ever made, I made. That's not somebody else's fault. It's my fault. Right? And when I say fault, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. You don't have to beat yourself up for it, but it's important to understand. It's that.
Hey Kevin, Kim here. Just wanted to send you a video to say thank you so much for your help on creating the Peaceful Productivity Podcast. You know, I couldn't have done it without you. I knew you'd be lots of great help with the technical aspects of getting the podcast going, but you went well above and beyond that. You helped me with the strategy and you gave me all kinds of really great support. You know, I think the key to success in business is a great attitude, and you have that in spades. You really walk the walk. So thanks again. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
We had a mentor who said awareness, responsibility, commitment. Awareness, responsibility, commitment. You're aware of something, it becomes your responsibility, and then you find somebody to help you stay committed to it. Those 3 things, really, I think those are really, really powerful. The awareness piece is everything. I am the Hyperconscious podcast. I created a podcast that I needed. That's why this whole thing really started. Mm-hmm. The responsibility aspect was when you start to believe in yourself more and you start to understand your level of self-belief and your level of self-worth, I think you're able to own stuff at a deeper level. And when you're able to own stuff, it's almost like people respect you more. When you say, hey, man, that's my bad. You asked me yesterday, you said, you've been reviewing the podcast? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And you said, all of it? And I was like, no, sometimes half, quarter, sometimes all of it. And you said, are you giving yourself full credit on your PPT? I said, definitely, absolutely. And you said, you can't give yourself full credit if you don't listen to the whole thing. And I was like, that's my bad. That was it. That was the end of the conversation. I messed up.
I mean, you can. You just probably,
I messed up.
It's red, yellow, green, man.
Well,
you only get green when you finish the episode.
In fairness, when I started tracking that, and I'm not even kidding, I'm not making an excuse. My assumption was it's review some of the episode, not the whole thing. Genuinely.
Yeah, I know.
So
it was just a different interpretation of the same thing. I
so I'm not
that,
lying.
But we would benefit if you listen to the whole thing.
Definitely. I listened to the whole thing today. Check it off.
Look at that. It's that
one
small change.
That's it. My reality
could change the show forever.
Could. Yeah, it could. I think it's awareness, responsibility, commitment. I think those three things are very, very important. And I always have a soft spot for reflection. I think reflection is such an important thing because, again, we don't always see contrast unless we go look for it. You got to look for contrast.
I just moved the mic arm
you
again.
Moved the mic. I still haven't ordered. It's on my to-do list. I'll look. I'm not going to look today. I'm back to back all day.
All good. You and I have to go soon. I think
yeah,
that's
I have
true.
12 minutes until I'm on another show.
Okay, cool. So I was listening to a book
burn me
earlier.
right to the ground. Work me right to the top of the hour.
It's your responsibility, sir. This is your department. This podcast is your department. So I was listening to a book earlier, and he said, his name was Dan Sullivan. He said, people rarely redesign their future without first understanding their past. And I think it was something along those lines. One of the things that I think is interesting is you look back often, so that you believe in yourself more. Because if you see how far you've come, you'll be able to kind of predict where you're headed, I guess. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. When it comes to choices, when it comes to changing your reality, in hindsight, what do you think made the biggest difference? What choice made the biggest difference in hindsight? What commitment? What new idea? What new philosophy? What new
1% improvement?
Yeah.
1%. Get a little bit better every day. Try to do a little bit more. That 1% improvement paired with playing the long game. I mean, I told a client this recently. I said, if you're around in 6 years, you'll be successful. I'm certain of it because what you'll have to do to be around in 6 years will make sure you're successful.
I know.
It's very, but you used to
sound
explain
like
that to
I
me.
used to.
I know. It's weird. It's getting weird for me. But I never understood that because.
What did it sound like to you back then? Because all of that's obvious.
It sounded like blah, 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 blah. Success. That's all I heard.
No, seriously. What did you actually think?
I don't know.
Because I used to say that to us.
Yeah, but we didn't have any results. So it was like, dude, I don't know what the hell you're talking. What are you basing this off of? Like, did you read this in a book? Is this something you just know? Like, was this a coach? How
what are you basing it off of?
Success. We're successful now.
I had tons of results, man.
I know, but I didn't know what they were.
Oh.
Couldn't see them.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment. Couldn't see them.
That.
Because I was driving in 2004? Is that why?
Yeah, that was part of it. Well, I said that to a client today. I said, I can tell you with fairly high certainty that what I'm saying is truthful based on the hundreds of podcasters I've worked with and us. I just have a lot of data now.
Yeah.
I can just sift through and say, well, but okay, based on...
What if I had a lot of data? I wasn't just saying stuff.
I know that. I just don't know what the data was.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't explain it.
Yeah.
It's a good
You can't
point.
tell me it was
I should
an intuitive
do that better.
download. It was a download intuitively. It's like, okay. Sure. What numbers should I play for the lottery, sir? Download them, sir.
13, 34, 65. Son.
Boss.
Did
you ask the question before we went off the rails?
Oh, yeah. What's the one thing that made the biggest difference, which is the 1% improvement?
Yeah, 1% improvement and
very powerful.
Setting yourself up for the long game.
Yep. Long-term thinking. I was on the phone with a client earlier today, actually, and I said, what did I say? Oh, 80% of the results come in the last 20% of the journey. And she's playing a very, 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 very long game. So what's unfortunate about that is that now I realize that people need to see results, particularly in this industry, before they'll trust you. And so and they're in the same industry we are. And I said, you got to do a better job than I did at that part. Because for me, if 80% of the results are coming in the last, so I'll give the listeners a tangible example. So we've had 80% more success in the last year than the previous 5 years. Or let me actually mathematically do this correctly, okay? So if you take the success, quote unquote, that Kevin and I have had over the last 6 years and you combine it all into one pie, Kevin and I, 80% of it would be this year, 2023. Well, technically May 30th of 2022 to today, okay? But what's unfortunate about that is that apparently other people presupposed we were failures before. Not everyone, but like, I don't think people really can see that. They can't see that equation, I guess.
Right. Correct.
And so what I was telling this client is make sure that you're like showing things that would indicate to other people that that's going to happen. Because otherwise you're basically just delaying gratification at an exponential rate that isn't effective, for lack of better phrasing. But for the listeners, back to changing your reality, these things that you do, these choices that you make, they ripple out into your future. So for example, and this is what I wanted to share originally, Kevin, I know we got to jump. When I first started personal development and like really consciously choosing personal development, working on me instead of achieving goals. So but before 26, it was mostly focused on achievement. And then after 26, my car accident, it was pretty much focused on growing me and contributing to others. And I essentially tracked my habits back then, and I looked at my habits, everything I do on a day-to-day basis, and I broke it down. I wrote out a list, shower, I wrote out everything. And I remember doing the same thing over a year later, and almost none of the habits were the same. Obviously, I still brushed my teeth, I still showered, but other than that, it was all different. Because I never read personal development books before 26. After 26, I've read probably thousands at this stage. You know, those things change everything, even though they never feel like it's changing anything.
Yeah.
I was reading John Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, in prep on a treadmill in Worcester, Anytime Fitness. And I'll never forget it. I remember being so miserable. And I remember thinking, like, this sucks so bad. It's Saturday night. I have no friends. And everyone else is having fun right now. And I'm on a treadmill reading a book about maximizing your potential. But I remember having that second thought of, this sucks, is thought number one. Okay. Thought number two was, I'm getting ahead right now. My future's going to be brighter because of this. And I still think about that. I still think about how much that book changed my life back then, changed my thinking back then, changed everything. And hopefully this podcast is doing the same. But whether it's books or going to exercise or getting a coach or doing group coaching, whatever it is, the choices you make now are rippling into your future, whether you like it or not. And I'm telling you, the outcomes are big later on.
Last thing before we go, you talked a lot about Amy being consistent with fitness and Brandon being consistent with miles for mindset. When that first started, here's the interesting thing. Yes, their reality is different now because they're 200 in some odd and 300 in some odd days, respectively, in their journey. But the day they started, their reality changed.
Mm-hmm.
You're just on a different trajectory. You're paying attention to different things. You're talking about yourself in a different way. Yeah, I started this thing where I'm going to try to run a mile every day, or I'm going to try to exercise for 30 minutes a day. That's a different reality. Everything's different because of that. So again, a very hyper-conscious episode. I was very excited to do this because I do believe we overcomplicate things as human beings, and we overcomplicate progress, and we overcomplicate results. And sometimes you just got to look and say, I got a new job. My reality is different. I'm making $2 more an hour. My reality is different. Whatever it is, whatever it may be. I read a new book. My reality is different. That. I wanted to make sure I connected that at the end.
Love this episode, brother. Strong work.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. If you're listening to this today, or the day you're listening to this today, if you're listening to it, because it's today when you're listening to it. But if you're listening to this the day it launched, it is Friday. We recorded a new free course yesterday, how to level up your self-belief and your self-worth. Again, I believe those are the two biggest things holding people back, myself and Alan included, in various ways throughout our journey. So keep an eye out on the website. We will talk about that when it ends up in its final form. It's going to be completely free. We want to add value. We understand not everybody can afford coaching or whatever it may be, so keep an eye and an ear out.
Also, in 42 days, 6 hours, 3 minutes, and 3 seconds, Group 11 of group coaching, next level group coaching, will be opening. It's July 11th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The group runs for 3 months. If you've been considering group coaching, it is a super affordable way to dip your toe into being in Kevin and I's corner. There's an assistant coach. There's a private WhatsApp group. It is an extremely well-polished product at this point. It is supposed to be the Mario Kart booster to get you into your next level life. There's a 3-month plan. It's $138 per month. If you reach out to Kevin or myself, email us, Alan@nextleveluniverse.com, Kevin@nextleveluniverse.com. Say, hey, I want to be a part of group coaching. I'm a listener of this show. Please give me the promo code. We're going to give you a promo code for 30% off, which brings it to $96 a month for 3 months, which is super affordable and way, way more affordable than one-on-one coaching. And you'll have a group of people around you to help you stay accountable.
Tomorrow for episode number 1356, a little NLU on a Saturday morning, a simple way to start valuing yourself more. I know that's something that many of us struggle with, so we will talk about that. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Change that reality. Next Level Nation.